comparisons to okay, well, how do we try and make the past interesting to people, or how do we communicate it? Or my thing is, because I like opera a lot, and there's a lot of people that have a negative attitude without even hearing it because it's unfamiliar. So, I mean, I try and let people know that Verdi, one of my favorite composers, was a man of the people. People right. loved him, and he was really revolutionary. People carried him through the streets. He was a national hero. So, and he was just a very independent person. You know, his life is fascinating. Okay, so we were talking about the 9/11 kid.
Yes, 4 years old.
4 years old. Well, that was a real pleasure, because I feel like I need to talk to people more. Like, I need to talk to young people more, because they don't know shit. And because I figured out the problem with this generation is that they confuse information with knowledge. And so when I talk to younger people, you're trying to have a conversation about something, and they keep saying, is it this, well, but this, and they're trying to see if they know what you're talking about. What I need to get across it's like, no, you don't know what I'm talking about. You need to just listen.
I call it the Google generation.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize about Google is you can almost find anything
exactly.
to fit what you want. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not that valid. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I want to find out how you could turn a banana into a car. And I'm pretty sure you could type it in there, and Google will have somebody that'll tell you how that can be done, even though we know it can't be done. And that's how this generation seems like it is to me. Like you said, you can come up and say, "This is just FBI." You can tell them something, and they they argue it like a long argument about it, and it's like, well, whatever.
I was like establishing more of a rapport with it, because he got it after a while, because and he did just sort of stop and listen, because he was saying that his favorite president was JFK, and I'm like, you don't know anything. I'm like, LBJ was so much more interesting. JFK did not do civil rights. LBJ did. And okay, well, also speaking of LBJ, I'm really disappointed. There's a really great HBO film about him called All the Way, and it starts right at the Kennedy assassination and follows him over the first year of his presidency. And it's just so unfortunate, because so much media out there is just about LBJ after he became president, and in relation to Kennedy, whereas, and we've talked about this before, 25 very interesting years before that. So there's another film out about LBJ, and I'm not even going to see it, because it's the same thing. Like, how much can you say about LBJ assuming the presidency after JFK? I mean, there's so much more interesting stuff about him.
Yeah, but I think also what they do nowadays is, if you, like, let's just say you're a kid and you were born in 1995 or 1999.
Yeah.
You're not gonna know, you know what I'm saying? How much are you really gonna?
Well, no, you're not. But
unless you're a kid that's really studying to learn history.
But none of it. They just, and I'm just now. I think now that I've identified the problem, I can get it across to them. I mean, they don't know. I mean, especially, look who you're talking to. I spent like 10 minutes talking to this kid today, and I was like, okay, you know more than like all of the adults in your life now. I mean, but I'm talking about stuff from books I've read in the past year or two. So, and I had this conversation with, is she watching? No, with someone, with a friend, and no. Mary, we're not talking. My friend's grandson is crazy about presidents. So it's really 7, and he's like
how old?
7.
That's
and
good.
yeah, so I was saying something, and she said, "Oh, I'm gonna see if my grandson knows this." I'm like, he doesn't. I'm a historian. I mean, but it was me being sensitive, but also just people don't have a context for what you're saying. Like, no, you need to just kind of take this in. And okay, so if anybody is interested in Kennedy, I suppose we should get to him a little bit, because I'm not very much, but he's much.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, we talked about this a little bit with the documents being released.
Right.
Okay, well, I was having a really good conversation with some friends, and including the friend with the very smart grandson, and just another one of these conversations about his history and and politics and how do we learn. Okay. So they were interested in Kennedy, and somebody said that LBJ was involved, and I said no, he wasn't. I'm like, I know. I was going, okay, this isn't conjecture, this is a fact. I know enough about the guy, what he was doing with his time and all of that, to know that that's bullshit. And so as far as the other stuff with Kennedy, I am not that interested in the conspiracy theories about him. I never have been. So yeah, we've covered that. You think, Roselle?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. And I don't know. I know that's people are going to be thinking about that because of the documents being released.
Right.
But
right.
I don't know how much more could it be. But okay. Well. Our president is supposed to be coming home with good news from Asia. Made a bunch of trade deals.
Yeah, good news for him.
Okay.
Yeah, he made some money from what I read.
Yeah, okay. So who knows what trickle-down economics are? Okay, the idea, it's a real derogatory term, and it's messed up. And what it means is the concept that okay.
I've seen the cartoon.
Yeah, sort of like, okay, well, if wealthy people get stuff, if things get good for them, things will sort of like trickle down. Things will get a little better for other people, and that's no good. But the thing about the wealthy making more money is that means stuff being built and stuff being bought. Like, okay, you work in nonprofits and stuff. That means you write grants, and
right.
You don't. That means people buy stuff, and so you can start. You can start a small business, and so like, yes, I know things are really, really problem. I'm not gonna rule out anything. It's like there's logic behind. Money and taxes, and I seriously feel like, okay, let them keep. It's the idea that we can manage things better than the government. So it's like if rich people have more of their money, then it just means we figure out how to get it from them.
Right.
And yeah, I just think like grants, okay? Stuff, we can turn it the other way. Grants, stuff being built, art programs, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like.
I've never understood that. Like when I watched the Gangs of New York,
Mm-hmm.
I watched the movie and they had like a 3 or 4 hour documentary on the History Channel about it. I don't understand how the logic of how they think the trickle down economics would work, because even in that situation, that was a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, when the rich people were doing good,
Yeah.
They would trickle it down, but you know what I'm saying? Even when they were still okay, but I guess they weren't good to their satisfaction, they wouldn't trickle it down, and eventually the poor people got so poor that they literally went up to where the rich people were and started looting and taking it from them. So I just don't understand their logic with that.
The logic is if rich people have more of their own money, then they'll invest it, then they'll open more business, then they'll hire more people. That's what what it means. They'll buy more stuff.
And that's if they want to. So
what are they going to do? What are they going to do with their money? Keep it.
Well,
money is to spend.
It is, but like now,
but that's what if you're talking about, people don't want. Come on, they're not trying. They're not trying to get more money so they can keep it. They're trying to get more money so they can spend it.
I don't see even when they get more money how it's showing down to us at any point.
It doesn't much, and that's the problem with trickle down economics. But does what I'm saying make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's the idea.
That's
the idea. That's what they're talking about.
Gotcha. So if they make more money, they're gonna have more jobs. They're gonna make more businesses.
Yeah, but it's true. It puts more money into the economy.
Right.
So that means more people, like, Vallejo. That means like people starting. And there's so many empty buildings down here.
Right.
It means investment, so it means people doing startups can get investors, and that's what it means. And just there's good and bad stuff about the donation sort of mentality, but during the boom years in Seattle, where I'm from, there were several beautiful arts buildings created, and educational programs, and a lot of stuff. So
I see that. I can see how you're saying that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, and
I just don't know. It just seems like the control part is just the part that kind of gets to me. It's like,
but it's less control.
Not for them.
It's less.
Because think about it. It's kind of like. I don't know. It kind of feels like if you're not gonna make it unless I make it type deal. I don't know. That kind of feels weird to me.
It's not worse than what we. It's not like it's something that doesn't. I guess the way to look at it is it's something that exists all the time. It's a concept.
Right.
It's a concept. It's really not. It's not that our economy right now isn't like that, because it is.
Yeah, actually,
sure it is.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of like that. I don't know. It just.
And in the problem over the past several years. Now here's where unemployment statistics can get tricky, because you can have a politician touting jobs growth, but it's a bunch of jobs paying $12 an hour, and so when you talk about trickle down economics, that's definitely something that people will talk about, that is a big problem, because in a very, very literal sense, it'll be like, rich people, that means rich people spending more money to have people clean their houses and take care of their kids and stuff. So that's a problem.
So what's your thoughts on the whole McDonald's situation, about McDonald's hiring people at $15 an hour?
I don't know. Seattle passed a $15 minimum wage.
Yeah, I'm actually happy, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I just know there's a lot of people that argue it, because they try to say that, if you're doing fast food, you shouldn't get paid $15 an hour.
Sure you should.
And that's what I said. I said, what do you guys, this is 2017, not 1950.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know, but people have this thing about fast food that they feel that if you're working fast food, you should not be making like no more than 8 to 10. It's weird.
Forget fast food. People are. I mean, I do home health care. It's less than $15.
Right, but
yeah.
I just don't understand the whole spiel about people that are doing fast food. You know, why shouldn't they get paid $15 an hour?
Yeah,
and it's like it's 2017. It should.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? $15 an hour to me still isn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's not like you're making them like they're getting paid $100 an hour.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't. And again, I mean, okay, this is me being sort of like a hard ass. Would be, I'm not wild about cities and districts passing minimum wage laws. I think it doesn't make. I just think it doesn't make sense. I don't think it's logical. I don't think it's logical. Like, okay, well, what if you move? What about chain stores? Or I don't know. I mean, of course, I'm for people to have more money. I just don't see it as much of a solution as a solution. I mean, I really feel like those efforts should be like to do like. Oh, we're talking about states again. Make it like a statewide standard.
I agree with that. I think they want to do it that way, but I just think that, like I said, there's a lot of people. Their mind state is, if my kid is working there, why should my kid make 15? It's weird. I've argued this. There's actually, I think, some people who are in the 360 group that I've gotten into an argument in other groups.
Yeah.
About it, but like years ago, like there was people that really honestly do not agree with you getting paid $15 an hour if you work at a fast food joint. They don't believe. Their mind is like, and I'm like, okay, so you'd rather have a person that makes $8 an hour that's going to have to be on welfare anyway. So either way you do it, they're still going to get the money, but at least if they're working for it and they get 15, I don't know. I think their pride would feel better.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then
and there's social pride, social security. But yeah, definitely. And that, oh man, we should talk about we talked about pieces of the Depression. That was one of the things that happened in the Depression. Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal was to put people to work.
Exactly.
And the government just doing stuff. I mean, construction, roads, art, public projects. I mean, it got people back to work. It got people doing something productive. So, yeah, it was pretty remarkable.
Exactly. That was my feelings on it. I remember Detroit did something like that a couple of years ago. Actually, the guy who did Fahrenheit 9/11, the big guy, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But he filmed it, and he filmed how I guess the people down there they try to put it in place that if you were doing welfare, they'd make you work for it. So there's some kind of big mall in Detroit.
Yeah.
And so they would literally have a bus that would pick all these people up.
Yeah.
And take them to different stores, and they all would go to their stores and work, and the bus would take them home.
Yeah, and it's not that. I mean, it's not it's not making people. I mean, most people. I think most people do want to work for
at least want to work, but yeah, exactly. I just think, like you said, though, but trying to have someone to work and say, okay, I'm going to give you $8 an hour. I mean.
Oh, okay. Here's something sort of interesting. Okay, the fires. Okay, yeah. Okay, you guys know we're in Northern California. Okay, there's been these terrible fires, and there's a Netflix documentary series about fires.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came out in 2016. It was filmed here in 2016, and so it's been pretty cool to watch it and just get even more respect for what people do. But one of the things that kept getting circulated during the fires was people that were outraged that inmates were fighting fires and making $1.25 an hour, and it was sort of like a. My thing was, okay, on the scale of injustice, it's like apart from all the problems and inequalities that get people sent to jail in the first place. Okay, there's all of that, and then there's trying to get decent educational and vocational programs in prisons, and my feeling was if they weren't being forced to do it, it's like coveted.
Right.
And they need to apply to do it, and then they do a whole training thing, and they get the same training as firefighters. So if it was up to me, if any more money that was available for the prison system would go into programs, educational, vocation, just anything to benefit more people.
Right.
I mean, they weren't being forced. So, I mean, it's coveted, and it was very, very moving to see, because these women went through like firefighter training. I mean, they are firefighters.
That's
and
good.
So
that.
so they went through that. So then you see these people who have not felt valued by society doing something which is about the most valuable thing that there is, and the guys in the crew are like, they're a firefighter. We treat them like firefighters. So
nice.
Yeah, so that was really, really cool to see, and just
that's good. That's what they should do. That's why
I
think that's what I think would help rehabilitate a lot of people too. Is if you do stuff like that, that would make them
experience feeling valued.
Like now, my situation, my thinking of like, let's just say the whole situation with people with felonies.
Yeah.
I think they should change that. I think if you have a felony, depending on, unless like you just violently just pulled a Charles Manson or something, just killed somebody, I can understand that sticking on you. But if you have a felony for little things or something, because maybe you sold drugs or whatever you did, I think eventually they should take them off.
I think so too.
Absolutely. Or if they're not going to take it off, at least make it to where the jobs can't see it.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to say like, I got a felony. And I think that's kind of like a bad thing.
It is. It's
Because I mean, you might have some good, like you just said, like let's just say those ladies, they get out the system. Let's just say they finish their time.
Yeah.
Then let's just say one of them wants to be a firefighter, a real life.
A lot of them do. Yeah.
And let's just say they have felonies. The chances of them being a firefighter is like 0 to none.
They'd probably need to. I mean, not as good. They'd probably. They could. There's a whole lot of volunteer firefighters, and volunteering for something is a good way to get hired.
You can, but a lot of jobs, even if you
can
be the best, and if you tell them, well, I have a felon, sometimes that's a deal breaker.
And it applies. Well, to me, it's like it's a big issue with other people. But so far as the firefighters, it wouldn't even be a question, because like their whole experience, they will have trained in the prison fire. So it's not like, it's like people would know before they got there, pretty much.
I don't know. I don't know how easy it would. I would like to see that, but I just really don't think that they went to once they got out and tried to be real, not volunteer, but tried to really have a career in it.
Yeah.
I think it would be really hard, and that's why I think they should if you do, I don't know, they should come up with a statute of limitations for it.
Yeah.
Instead of having people stick with something. I mean, it's like it doesn't make sense to release somebody and say, okay, you can go, but you have a felony, you can't do anything except for work at maybe McDonald's.
I just, it's a huge, it's a huge problem. I just think the people that have worked on as firefighters while in prison have a better job, have a better chance of being employed than people that haven't.
That's somewhat true.
That's what what you saw. I mean, not necessarily.
I see your point. Trust me, I see your point. I understand how you're saying it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they don't look at that, because there's a lot of people that learn stuff in prison. Like you said, they learn whatever. They may be in shop. They may be very good carpenters from going to jail. But then when they get out and they have to tell people, well, I have a felony, sometimes that overweighs.
But so what I'm saying, like, so far as all of that stuff goes, I would just think so far as an inmate wanting to be hired, taken seriously, respected, or anything, the ones that have fought fires are going to have an easier time of that than people that haven't fought fires.
That is true. I see what you're saying.
Because they're firefighters. Everybody likes so everybody likes firefighters.
Yeah, until you tell them you had a felony.
But fire, I know.
For 5 to 10 years.
It's terrible. But I mean, it's a problem with everybody getting out of prison, and it made me think it would be great if if more inmates want to go fight fires, they should be able to do that, because
right.
Yeah, it's just that is what you saw. I mean, just they fight fires and people are going to be impressed by that no matter what. So yeah, as somebody that was in jail in the fighting fires is going to be looked at more favorably than somebody that was working in the laundry or something. Right, true. So, true. Yeah, but it's a huge, and you know what they said also is that a lot of the women had feel guilty about leaving their children, and so fighting fires really made them feel like they were making the world sort of safer.
Yeah, that's good though. Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
We got 7 more.
Okay, but yeah, fire chasers. That was interesting. And so what else has been happening this week? Too much crazy stuff happens.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, nationalism. When James was talking about nationalism, I wanted to bring up Catalonia, which we talked about last time, and it's still not really settled. Catalonia was part of Spain that seceded, and now they're saying like we're Catalonians. This is what we were talking about last time. And the United States doesn't even have anything comparable, because we have different cultures with different states, but we all speak the same languages. But like in Mexico, there's different. There are secessionist movements in Mexico, or there's areas, there's regions where there's different languages and all that, real different cultures. So anyway, our friends. I'll check on our friends in Catalonia. It's weird. Doesn't it seem like the month just flew by?
Oh yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. It did big time.
Mm-hmm. But nationalism is an issue that gets talked about in regards to Catalonia and what about those little 60,000 Nazis marching through Warsaw?
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard about that, but I don't know, they were supposed to come down here and do all that kind of stuff too.
Well, 60,000 of them in Poland is sort of has a little bit more resonance for me than people out here.
But Poland, those areas, they're kind of what is it, larger down in those kind of areas. They're larger than here. They don't really.
Well, my family all got out of there before World War II, and no one's gone back. So, right. But this is.
I heard it's bad in those areas like Germany and Poland with the Nazis and all that kind of weird stuff.
And it's bad. It's bad here. It's bad here too.
It's bad here too, but it's bad. Like you just said, they can get a bunch of them and not march down the street and. There's kind of a lot of them, so no one's going to really try to mess with them or try to stop it.
Well, yeah, this is going to be my year I have plans. Okay, because, Bayard Rustin Day in January. We'll be talking about that plenty. I'll be putting on an event for my hero, Bayard Rustin, and it's going to be a gathering place for discussions about things we can do. I want some people to announce candidacy. Yes, candidacy, political stuff, but also I mean, I feel I want to reconcile with these people. And what I said, you know, I mean, I just, I won't hate them. I won't, okay, so, I mean, so I wrote on somebody's Facebook wall that I was going to, you know, that I would see them with love and compassion. That I'm not scared of them. I feel sorry for them. It would feel really terrible to have so much hatred and anger.
Well, if you're gonna confront them, try to do it down here. Don't do it down in there. Don't do it don't go overseas in Europe. I'm trying to tell you, they deep. It's a different story down there.
But okay, so then somebody put some dumbass comment on Facebook with it, and my first thought, I was about to write like, well, fuck you, and then I was like, well, this is so, I was like, well, here I am like talking about love and compassion, but okay, some idiot says something dumb to me on Facebook. I'm like, shut up. So what I wrote down was, it's easier for me to feel, to this guy, I wrote down, it's easier for me to feel love and compassion for them than for you. Which is true. So true. Yeah. I mean, because, like, it was just some, like, liberal, short-sighted asshole, and that should know better.
Wow. 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that was, I've had a bad Facebook week, man. I got like blasted by somebody. I posted on, somebody used the word mongrel, okay, on,
you know what, I have to say this,
rude.
Facebook has made it easy for people to just say anything that they normally wouldn't say in person. And I hate that.
Okay, but what you gotta, the reason that I said something is I don't get into, I mean, you know, I just have our group. See, now I have my group to go over, and you see I do not get into political discussions with people. The reason it was because this was my friend Sean Haynes, who will keynote for Bayard. Sean is just unstoppable. Activist communicator. He's the one that's like working on everything, you know, the race, gender, income, all of that, and he gets a lot of discussions going, and I go on his fucking wall to support him. I love you, Sean. That's because as I feel it's an alliance thing, because I do not like get into that stuff, but I did not expect that to come up. Oh, but okay, because then then somebody got on my case for spelling Filipino P with a PH instead of an F.
That's funny.
It was crazy, yeah. But yeah, I very rarely get into those things.
Oh, just so you know, I tried to add your friend Samson McCormick.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
but he's failed.
Yes.
So I tried.
Okay.
So just let him know. I don't know if you told him.
Oh,
and I haven't added him because he's filled, so I don't want him to think I'm just ignoring it, just in case he thinks I was.
Oh no, he did. Oh no.
Okay.
He won't. He won't. Yeah, I'll just check because we could just do it again with him passing in through here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Yeah. Well, I feel this is a very good way to spend my 50th birthday.
Nice. I enjoyed it. Seems like every show we get smoother and smoother.
We sure do. My 30s were okay. Yeah, my 30s were rough, and I feel like I spent my 40s putting out the flames from my 30s.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, 50's gonna be good.
I believe it. Okay,
so.
All right. This is Radio for the World, Historical Book Club with.
All right, Anna Berkman.
We will see you next month.